Milley, thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Secretary Austin, thank you for your service and your call last week. Secretary McCord, thanks for being here today. Not getting a lot of questions, but thank you for being here. You know, I ran for Senate to serve on this committee. I ran because my dad, he was a World War II veteran. He earned 5 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart, and he died on active duty. And I ran to support the warfighter. You know, we owe our freedom to our troops. For 50 years, our all-volunteer force has answered the call. I think you would agree to that. Since 1973, we've asked a lot of our Americans, young volunteers, to fight in Vietnam, Grenada, Bosnia, Somalia, Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Afghanistan. They've never wavered. In boom times and in bust, young Americans have raised their right hands to defend the Constitution with their lives, if necessary. War is hell. You know that better than anybody. Every recruit should know that. But in the last 2 years, we put them through a different kind of hell. In one of your first acts, Mr. Secretary, you put our military, every single member, active duty and reserve, through a mandatory training to root out extremists. That sent a message, Mr. Secretary, that our military is filled with extremists. Our military is one of the most diverse organizations in the world. It is full of patriots. 8 months later, we watched the collapse of Afghanistan. It was the worst defeat of the United States in my lifetime, and agony for most Americans to watch on the 20th anniversary of September the 11th. That defeat gutted our troops who served there. The President called it an extraordinary success. That's not what our veterans of Afghanistan call it. Our withdrawal, a big letdown to our allies, a military disaster, and national disgrace. I've talked to leaders all over the world. They've told me the same thing. Not one general or political appointee has been held accountable. Now, I want to give you an example of accountability. General Milley, May 2021, I sent you a letter asking for, why did we give up Bagram? Now, you did answer, but it was a few months later. Now, you have 4,500 people, you know, for the next person in line on the Joint Staff and a budget of $250 million. We've got to find ways to get information back to Congress. Secretary Austin, I sent you a question in September 2021 that took almost 4 months. Congress deserves better. America deserves better. We all deserve better. Now we're on the brink of a world war with Russia. China is openly violating our airspace, but it took Congress to step in and tell our military leaders, you, to stop throwing our troops out who objected to a vaccine, most of them on a religious factor. Given what we put our troops through in the past 2 years, it's no wonder that the Army missed its goal of 15,000 soldiers. Now, General, you know that is an entire division. We can't afford that. And it's getting worse. The Navy and Air Force will probably miss their numbers this year. Yet, some of my colleagues claim that the real crisis is my hold on the promotion of 158 general flag officers. Mind you, these were promotions that the majority leader can bring to the floor at any time. Those same people claim expanding abortion will make our military stronger. You know, I want to be clear on this. My hold has nothing to do with the Supreme Court's decision to the access of abortion. This is about not forcing the taxpayers of this country to fund abortion. That's been a bipartisan consensus for more than 40 years. The military has performed abortions for years. All were cases of rape, incest, and the harm to the mom. Over the past 40 years, I don't recall one military person ever complaining that we weren't performing enough abortions. Nor did the military raise the alarm that our servicemen and women were being placed in areas that had restrictive policies on abortion. Poland's restrictive policies, Japan, Djibouti, all these theaters have abortion policies. Yet our military changed the policy to do this job in these different theaters. As of 12 days ago, y'all got the American taxpayer on the hook to pay for travel and time off for elective abortions. And you did not make this with anybody in this room or Congress taking a vote. In fact, this contradicts what Congress has actually voted for. Most of us, some of us in the room, if not all senators that have been complaining about this, have voted for the Hyde Amendment many, many times. But now my colleagues on the left think this abortion issue is good for a campaign, and that's what this shouldn't be about. I'm not going to let our military be politicized. I want our military to be the strongest and the deadliest it has ever been. But I also want the administration to follow the law. As long as I have a voice in this body, Congress will write the laws, not the Secretary of Defense, not the Joint Chiefs. General, you said nothing's more expensive than preparing for war or fighting a war. I truly agree. That's the reason if we want something to spend money on, let's pass it and let's put it in the NDAA. You know, I represent Alabama, but I also represent everybody in this country. Everybody, all 320 million. All of us do. Y'all represent the military, but you also are responsible and represent every citizen in this country. That's the reason that this country is so strong. And we all need to understand that, get on the same page. I'm willing to work with you. I'm not here to fight. Hey, I'm here, we're all on the same team, and I want to work with you to make this happen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think it's appropriate that the Secretary or the General have a reason to respond.
Well, thank you, sir. And first of all, let me just say thanks for the support you've given us to this point. And I really implore you to reconsider and allow our nominations to move forward. It will make a significant difference for our force. Just to address a couple of things that you mentioned. First of all, you said that, you know, I had our troops focus on rooting out extremism, and nothing could be further from the truth. You know, each of our units, troops, spent a couple of hours talking about a number of things. We've always had regulations against extremist behavior. And you've heard me say that 99.9% of our troops are focused on the right things each and every day. But in this case, a small set of actions can have outsized impact. On the vaccine mandate, the vaccine mandate, in my view, saved lives. And it saved a lot of lives. And so, you know, we don't see a strong correlation between vaccine mandate and recruiting. We don't see that because we've done the surveys that indicate that that's just not true. There's not a strong correlation. Now, on the issue of providing non-covered reproductive health care for our women, I would just say, Senator, almost 1 in 5 of our troops are women. And they don't get a chance to choose where they're stationed. So almost 80,000 of our women are stationed in places where they don't have access to non-covered reproductive health care. And I heard from our troops, I heard from our senior leaders, I heard from our chiefs and also our secretaries, and this policy is based on strong legal grounds. And it is not a law, it is a policy. And so, you know, we obviously don't pass laws in the Department of Defense, but again, I assure you that we have great respect for this body, Congress, and we will do everything within our power to make sure that we continue to work with Congress. Again, you've supported us in a number of ways, Senator. I am personally grateful for that support, and I know my colleagues are as well, but thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so every time I put out a video you can know about it. It'll come up in your feed. Hit that like button if you liked it, and be positive. Peace.